Hey guys, Tyler here from GarageWarrior.com, and I am super excited today to have on the call John Rowley. How's it going, John?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing great, brother. I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk on the call. We're going to
I
talk a lot
appreciate you.
about fitness, about success, about a lot of different things, so this should be real fun. But for people who don't know who you are, John, maybe you can give us a background. I know you got a big story, but give us a background on who you are and kind of what your mission is. What are you trying to teach people, John?
Well, really, what my mission is connecting the dots between physical, mental, and spiritual health and fitness. That's kind of my mission. And the reason being is I learned at an early age how important physical fitness was. I was a world-class athlete. I was a runner back in the late 70s. 1980 with the Olympics. In 1979, I had a near-fatal car accident. I fell asleep behind the wheel. Long story involved, but I was not drinking, just overtraining and overworking. And
Yeah.
it was the night before I was going back to college. Anyway, they said I hit a tree at about 100, 110 miles an hour head on.
Wow.
The outcome was my right hand was back by my right elbow. My left foot they wanted to amputate. They said I'd never walk again. They said I'd never use my right arm again. My left foot was, is still in pain today every time I take a step. All my ribs were broken. My breastbone was separated by 3.5 inches. I lost my teeth and I lost my nose. My nose was completely severed from my face.
Wow.
So when people tell me, they have some struggles in their lives, get a grip, man. People have it worse than you. And people, as bad as my accident was, there's a lot of people out there that have it a heck of a lot worse than I've had it.
Sure.
So I found out, I really realized at 19 years old how important your physical body was. It was a long comeback trail, and we can get into that some other time. But after some time, once I was rehabbed a bit, my father had a custom-made walker for me, and he got me a job as a janitor in a Brooklyn school. So I was able to work nights. I didn't look so great, so I worked at nights cleaning classrooms. And at the same time, rehab back then wasn't what it is today. So I was going to an old dungeon of a gym to do my own rehab, strengthening my body and giving myself greater movement in my arm. I still don't have full movement of my right arm. But anyway, that gym happened to be the gym where Pumping Iron was filmed, where Lou Ferrigno had trained, and Dennis Tenorino, and all these famous athletes of the day. At that point in time, I got healthy again and decided I wanted to conquer Manhattan real estate. So I wanted to go from being a janitor to being a executive in Manhattan real estate. And there is a thing called ignorance is bliss. I was very blessed because I had no idea what I was going up against. But I interviewed at over 300 companies on Madison Avenue, finally found one foolish enough to hire me. And within a very short period of time, I was the youngest senior vice president of Manhattan. I ended up working for Harry and Leona Helmsley, handling all their personal assets. Barbara Corcoran, who happens to be on the Shark Tank today, is still one of my best friends. So I did that. But at the same time, I decided I wanted to get involved with the gym business. So I bought that gym that I was training at in Brooklyn. So I ended up owning the gym where Pumping Iron was filmed, also doing this. So I had one foot in the business world and one foot in the fitness world at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
And because of that, I saw the dysfunction in both. And what I mean is, in the business world, I saw guys that graduated from Harvard, Wharton, or Yale. They were raised on Park Avenue and Beekman Place. They had incredible social connections. They had a great education. Yet they ended up working for me.
Right.
My father was a janitor. My grandfather was a janitor. Certainly wasn't my social skills. Certainly wasn't my education, because I never graduated college. And what it was is I was willing to work hard. And because I stayed physically fit, I was physically fit, but I was also mentally aware. And I was able to utilize the resources that God had given me effectively for a 16 or 18-hour day. Whereas the other guys who may have had better giftings than me or better education, they ran out of gas, by 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So it didn't make any difference that they were more qualified. They didn't use what they had.
Right. Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, John, is like I always try to tie, the physical adversity from a challenging workout into real life. Like, how do we overcome those adversities? And by training, by going into the gym and working out hard, we do train that daily life. And I'm the same exact way in terms of, like, I will outwork anybody. And I believe that fitness component really, really, really plays a huge role in that. So it's fantastic that you brought that up. So now we'll rewind a little bit. So now you're this senior vice president or whatever of a real estate firm. How did you get involved in the fitness industry?
Well, I was working at the gym, and then in this business. But then when I got into Manhattan, I kind of stopped working out in Brooklyn. But one day we ended up cutting through Brooklyn. It's a long story, but I ended up visiting the gym. Saw the owner of the gym, and when I was leaving, I think he realized that I was pretty successful, and he goes, "Do you want to buy the gym?"
That was it.
So he threw a number out at me, and I came back with a number about half of that, and he said no. But I had a feeling by the time I reached my car, he'd say yes. So I kind of said, "Okay, good, have a good day." And sure enough, he came running out. And I learned something real quick, though. You never go into another man's business, even though I loved working out. You know, it was a totally new business, and I learned a lot, and I did like it, and I cherished the memories of owning the gym. But that's kind of how I got involved with it. But what I did is like everything in what I do, I find out who's the most successful in that business, and I sort them out. Steve Weinberger and Bev Francis probably owned the most successful gym in New York at the time and still do. And so I reached out to Steve. Him and I ended up becoming partners. And I knew Steve and Bev because I had worked out at their gym when they first opened. We ended up becoming partners in a bodybuilding show called the Brooklyn Classic. But very quickly, within 2 months of being in the gym business, I was expediting the Mr. Olympia show as one of the officials for the International Federation of Bodybuilders and the National Physique Committee. I was a promoter from them. So within probably 30 to 60 days of owning the gym, I was deeply entrenched in the pro bodybuilding thing,
Yeah.
which then got me involved with the magazines. And, I've got, this is, late 80s, mid to late 80s. I've got friends from back then still today, whether it be Lou Frigno or, well, Dennis Tenorino passed away, or any of the people that I was just out in Gold's Gym, and I see Samir Benout. I happen to see Magic Johnson. I've got a lot of people that I'm friends with from that business. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got involved with it, a little bit by mistake, but it was always a goal of mine to get into the gym business.
Right.
Then once I got in, my goal was to get out.
Well, so you got a lot of experience in those old school bodybuilding days, and now you're actually one of the co-authors of a new product called Old School New Body, right?
Yes.
And that thing is popular.
Yeah, it's one of the best-selling fitness products on the internet today, and it's an international sensation. And the thing incredible to me is I'm an author. I've got 2 books that are out in the bookstores, on end caps and bookstores. They've hit #1.
Sure.
And I reach more people in a week with Old School New Body than I do in the lifetime of my other 2 books combined. It's the power of the internet. It's amazing.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about this old school bodybuilding training and why more people should be paying attention to kind of what those old timers were doing and paying a little bit less attention to some of the stuff they're reading in the fitness media these days.